Okay, I think I'm live here on the What is the Positive 30 minutes, and I'm about to invite all my peeps. But first, I'm gonna invite them on the side because we're already chatting. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to send the link to the green room right into this little side chat that we've got going, since it's already structured. And then I'll come back to the session itself and do a formal invitation from the green room. So Wee Wake's out there, and he may. Let's see what he says. 15 minutes. 15 minutes? Okay. Whatever it takes to be fine. And in the meantime, I'll see what I can do about it. I could have been prepared for this and launched everything smoothly, but who cares? It's a journaling session. Never got my coffee reheated, but that's okay. Let's see, just in case. So, no formal structure to this. I'm not going to have a dialogue. I'm just going to be showing everybody what's going on when I'm assembling the session and inviting people. 2 down. Three down. 4 down. 5 down. 6 down. 7 down. 8 down. 9 down. See if I can even think of all the people. Let's see. It's funny because I'm missing somebody. Let's see. Who am I missing? I'm drawing a blank. Well, I'm doing this off the top of my head. And should have them down by now. Okay, well, I invite those people, and then whoever else can join, we'll see. In the meantime, Let me see if I can figure out. Oh my, of course. Lolan,
Howdy.
how are you?
Oh, not too bad. A little bit depressed right now. Hang on, my phone is wanting me to join your hangout.
Yeah, mine does that too.
There. I was just reading David Amerlin's piece on terrorism,
Ah,
and that's why I'm depressed. Because then there was another very lengthy response. Let me see if I can find the guy's name. You would know his name. I've seen his name around a lot. And basically the response was, to hell with all those terrorists. The only way to stop them is to go to war again.
yeah.
Ah, oh.
You know, it's I understand the depression, and I can totally relate to it. And we, as a human being, it's almost like if we are not depressed by hearing news like that, then it's not an indication that we're being sympathetic to the unfairness of the whole thing. And it's those like, we naturally feel depressed and we naturally side with the people who are being um, abused in this situation. So,
Well, but David Amerlin's piece kind of points up that it's really difficult to determine who is, in all of what's going on in the world today, who is the abused and who is the abuser. It's very complicated.
To some degree, and this is a part of my theory of taking responsibility for my own life, and it's hard to explain, and very few people will agree or digest what I have to say here. But basically, all of my experience is a result of my own thinking, and if I were not in some way in a similar vibration to the terror, to the terrorist acts, and to the things, the war and all the negativity, if I weren't somewhere in my being attuned to that, then I would not be experiencing it. There are people living up in the mountains that don't know what war is.
Right.
There are kids that are not suffering from starvation because they're just in a place where there's plentiful food. Right. Well, it's like, that funny comedian who has now passed away, he was saying, if there wouldn't be any starvation, if people would just go where the food is, right. this type of thing. And so it's like, well, what is up with this? Why do people live in poverty areas, or where resources are not available and living is tough? Why did they do that? And it's like, I don't have the best human answer to that, but it does have to do with our vibrations. So when I think about the terrorist acts and this stuff, I'm horrified, just like everybody else. It's just like, how the hell can we justify doing that type of thing to another human being, let alone people we hate, but random people to make some sort of a statement, and so it's beyond me, and it's beyond you, and it's beyond the masses of people. It's just unconscionable to think about such a thing. And that's what terror is all about. They think they're making a point, but the point is only driven home by people who feel the same way as they do.
Who are the same as them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what I find? I mean, you caught me just as I was finishing reading this, and I'm just like, I have to think this through. But where I where I tend to go, I don't know if you're familiar with Ken Wilber's integral world, but if you look at the levels of human development, there and every human being passes through every one of those levels of human development. And the stuff that we're seeing and hearing is strictly tribal crap. And many of us have moved beyond. And as you move beyond, or some people get bent out of shape if you say up the scale, but so let's just say beyond, toward improvement. I mean, we move to the next level, having taken the good parts and the things that we learned from the previous level. We take that with us as we move along. But as we move forward, I mean, it's the whole thing about being able to think of ourselves as being part of, I mean, it's almost like the gradual growth of empathy, and the way that we empathize with and care about other beings and other things in our world. And as we become more in tune with that, we move beyond that whole sort of tribal thing. So it becomes really a thought around evolution, our own personal evolutionary process.
Yes. I have an interesting take on evolution and creation and development and things. Excuse me as I put my hat on here. I've got the sun coming in on my...
Oh, yes, you do.
So I tend to glow early morning. I have a glow on in the mornings.
Not from a smoker or a glass of wine, though.
No. Hi, Wewak.
Hi, Wewak.
Namaste.
Namaste. We're talking about terrorism and depression.
Oh, jeez, what an awful discussion that.
No,
on Easter Sunday. Oh,
that's all right. It's as good a subject as we can get. And I've been thinking about talking about it on one of my shows or both of my shows, because, we can't detach ourselves with what we're doing or what we intend in business or anywhere else and not realize what's going on in the world. So right. We have to be current and to be here now, to be ever present, and we have to try to be as evergreen in our statutes as possible. We have to say, look, let's talk about the terrorism. And there's no way we can affect, well, I won't say there's no way. Just by talking about it, we're affecting it. Because indeed, if every molecule of this universe is connected,
if we're all one, then the way the energy and the vibration we bring to it will have a different impact. Wewak, I was just saying that when Roland pinged me, I just finished the article that David Amerland, his Sunday read.
Oh,
And he's talking about terrorism. And then what was also what I found kind of upsetting was one person who gave a response, who basically said, all those damn Muslims, they don't care. And they don't care about anybody. They don't care. And so the only way to stop them is another world war. And unfortunately, I read the response before I read David Amerland's piece. And David Amerland's piece is much more reflective, with a lot more kind of depth, et cetera, et cetera. So when Roland pinged me, he said, "How are you?" And I said, "I'm depressed as hell."
So part of our job, Wewak and myself, is to change that vibration.
Yeah.
And,
I think the major reason is we go by logic. If we go by pure logic, then there is no reason to live.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because what do we do every day? Every day we at night we go to sleep. Morning we start our day, eat food. Um, in the evening we do our go to the toilet and stuff like that, and then go to sleep. What have we achieved, or what what's the reason?
Yeah.
If you go purely by logic, there's nothing. There's no.
Yeah.
And in fact, I don't know if you might have seen it or might not have. I keep watching these videos by Sadhguru. You might have.
Oh, I've got to tell you about something. I got to tell you about this. I was watching.
Wait, she's excited. She's excited. She's smiling and she's excited. Something is working.
Well, I was listening to something last night, and sometimes when I'm just listening to something, I'll sit on my phone and play solitaire. Just to be doing something while I'm listening. So as this solitaire came up, there was an invitation to download an app, a new app, and it was an app by your guru that you talk about all the time. So it's a little meditative app where every day you get another little short snippet of meditation. And I was looking at this and I went, oh, that's that person that Vivek is talking about. So I downloaded it, and it was just a short clip, and it was I thought, this is really worthwhile, and it was just free. It's an Android app. So that's why I got excited. I thought, oh, right, I've got to remember to tell Vivek about that.
So we were talking about terrorism. Now we're talking about something, and it seems like a
the reason I remembered Sadhguru was he was in one of his talks. He was saying that because of the way the communication and all these things are happening. If we are not touched by life, he was saying that he was kind of this was kind of a warning. He was saying that if we don't take care of a few things, then he was saying that the number of suicides will go up in the world, and the violence will go up. Violence mainly because people are suicidal. So they want to destroy everything and themselves. So he was saying that, and the only way to come out or avoid such a disastrous thing happening is, he was saying, number one, meditate.
Yep.
Then be touched by life.
Yes. Life and love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's weird because we can philosophize around what's going on, but as we philosophize and we try to make heads or tails of it, and we try to be commonsensical, and we try to be logical, and then we look at the things and say, it's not logical to destroy life. It's not logical to hurt other people. It's not logical to be randomly offensive. And, you know, that's from our point of view. But the reality of that is that everyone is creating his or her own reality, and their logic for life it's got to be different from mine. So whatever that is, when we're touched by life and we're touched by the human condition, we're controlled, so to speak, by the human condition. then we are limited as to what we can view life as. And so as we're viewing this limited view of life, we think things like, wow, here are all the I can'ts in the world, and here are all the I cans. And the I can'ts outweigh and totally, shadow with the I cans. So it's like I'm losing this battle, and I'm going to die anyway. And it's depressing to think about it like that. So we have to look at the higher level of life, and until we look beyond the human existence, we can't find value to be better. There's no reason to do it. If you're going to die, so what then? So what? And if we are going to live again, if I'm wrong about our one life on earth and that's all there is, if that's what you're believing, you're thinking, if I'm wrong, well, so be it. Then I'll come back and do it again. And what is the freaking meaning of life? Why are we doing that?
Yeah.
And the answer is, from wherever we are here to express. And it's not about.
It's all about the journey, all the things that we learn along the way.
I think it's beyond that, Lolan. I think it's beyond that, because if we were to go to the ultimate journey, we would merge once in the end with God, right? I mean, it's like, let's go to heaven on earth, let's go to heaven in the universe, let's go beyond the human existence, let us be one with God, the way Jesus says, I and the Father are one. Then let me realize that, and let me evolve out spiritually to be one with God. That's apparently the ultimate goal. And I think if we were
that sort of depends on your definition of God.
Sure. Yeah. It does, but whether we call him God or whether we call it universal energy, whether we call it the results of a Big Bang theory,
or just moving to another level of existence.
These things are all correct. These things are all correct. And
now, mind you, I'm going to be flippant here. I keep saying I need at least 3 more lives to achieve the things that I want to achieve and do the things that I want to do.
And some people in a different spiritual condition and state right now would probably be saying, try 1,003.
Yeah, right.
I mean, we don't know what the beyond is. So right now we're functioning as humans, thinking, I got to do this a few more times before I can get it right and be better than I am. But the interesting thing is that at any point in time, for each one of us, we can evolve out of where we think we are and be where we actually are. And the actual are, maybe that's, for us as humans, maybe that's the point of death, when we leave this body and become spiritual again, or some other higher plane, and then we realize, oh, that's what life is all about. And I forgot that I agreed to forget all of this when I went into my human life, and I didn't do real well while I was there. So, okay, let's try it again. Let's try incarnate back into a human body and take another trip. So I think that if we realize that is potentially what we're doing, then it gives us reason to be here now and see what we can create and what we can express, and not just analyze what's going on in the world or analyze what has happened to us and look at these things and say, gee, I've got all these things to regret and things to attach myself to that are negative. When we get to the point of inspiration past the moment that we're in, when we say, I want to be more, I want to do more, I want to help others, as soon as we step into that mode, then we are expressing. And I truly believe that is why we're here. And so the people in the terrorist mode, they're expressing the way they do, and that in that they feel alive and just invigorated by that whole concept of like defending what they believe. And that other people are sitting on a hilltop like Sadhguru and saying, we need to experience life. We need to do this. But the issue is that I have with him, and it's the same issue that I have with what's his name? That other Zen guy that I get emailed with all the time. I've been through some of these courses, but
Hmm.
basically it's it's too Zen for me. It's too much sitting on your butt and analyzing and relating and not holding the negativity. I think the step beyond that is to express in love. I mean, fully engage and express in love. And
Yeah.
that is where, so,
Yeah, I mean, responding back to what you just said, Sadhguru is not someone who is sitting all the time and
oh,
meditating.
I'm
No.
sure, but that is the,
No, but no. The point is, he runs businesses. He runs. He's an entrepreneur. He runs businesses,
I'm sure.
and he.
Really, I didn't know that. I didn't
Yeah.
know that about him.
And so when
Yeah,
I listen to him speak in a video, I would like to hear about his expression, and all we get to hear about is
Well,
this is just,
let me give you one example. He was saying he was asked a question that somebody was saying, I have 2 ears and I hear all these negative things and mind get disturbed and so on. So what shall I do? Was the question. So his response was, okay, our Isha Foundation can manufacture earbuds and market them for you as and he was like he was showing his marketing or business
I
side.
totally believe that he has these things. However, in the videos that he produces, that is not what he expresses. So
Because those are the questions that are asked. So uh, you ask him philosophical questions. You expect him to respond in that.
sure, I agree. I agree. So it's a really good example of how things, the the
it's like trying to understand an elephant.
I totally
What's the other we have a story of 5 people who are
they're
uh,
blind and they're touching the elephant from different sides.
elephant and
And
they're
one
trying
guy
to
thinks it's a wall, one guy thinks it's a tree trunk, one guy thinks it's a rope, another guy thinks it's
exactly.
a tree, and one guy thinks it's a funny snake-like arm. And they're all right, but they all have the partial view.
Yeah.
So in other words, he's having these videos and things, but what is he known for primarily in the world? They get this view that he has this point of view that preaches a status quo and then to analyze from a perspective of neutrality, which does not implement a positive and negative vibration attachment in the emotions to any subject, so that you can act accordingly. And there is one difficulty with this that I have, and it's the same thing I have with my other Zen guru. It's too it's too it's too
Abstract.
nope. It's too unmotivated. It's
Oh.
too uninspired.
Oh,
And
so what I'm hearing is in the various meditation traditions that I've encountered, as well as this gentleman we're talking about, it's to learn to be equanimous. So the emotions, the things that are happening to us, the sensations, they're neither positive nor negative. If we can learn to be to see things from an equanimous way, then we're able to see things
as they are.
they just are. They just are. So I guess what you're saying, Roland, is if I let go of the positive and negative, I won't have the motivation to take action. Is that what you're saying?
I think you're close, but not quite. And so you guys are feeling where I'm coming from, I think, right now. And it is not that I think that neutrality is a bad
It's
thing.
not easy. It's not easy.
No, I agree.
Neither of them. I don't think even the other gentleman you were talking about say that it is easy. No, it's not easy.
It is not. It's the hardest thing for humans to do. And
Absolutely.
what I'm getting at is basically it's a good starting point as a human being to arrive at that point of neutrality and non-judgment. I think that that's very essential. However, as humans, the only thing left for us is to equate out what we believe and what we think, assess what we experience, and then respond. And that I'm in the respond mode in my life. And where I set myself is so like basically 24/7, I want to be happy. Now,
Good.
does that mean that I'm going to ignore all the negative things? No. It does mean that I'm going to ping off of them, and they're going to bring some of that negative reality to myself, to me, so that I can express beyond the negativity. And when I hear about the terrorism and that stuff, then my response is, so what is the positive? What do I do? What is my next move? And for me, it's like I must be the opposite of that which I cannot digest or adhere to. I must be the opposite or the furthest thing from that terrorism. And so to dwell in the depression of, gee, this is happening, is not the answer, of course.
No.
And you know this without me, saying it. But
But
the idea is,
so Roland, I'm what you're saying. I'm connecting to an experience I had quite a long time ago. I went through a very, very, very stressful period in my work, etc. And it wasn't until I was able to say to myself, stop worrying about the way things ought to be, and just worry or just concern yourself with the things that you have control over. So that was the piece that freed me from that stress.
that was
And
a
I
good
remember having a conversation with somebody about that, and the person said, well, if everybody thought that way, nobody would ever take any action to correct things that need to be corrected. In other words, what you're saying is you don't care. And so I had to go back and review that again, because I realized that, yes, I do care. It's not that I don't care. But it was a freeing thing for me to realize that if I concentrated on the areas that I could personally do something about, then it was a freedom for me. So
exactly.
Yeah. But when I think that when a person is in pain, whether that's physical pain or emotional pain or whatever, we need some kind of psychology that frees us from that. And I think that and it's Goenka that I got this, be equanimous about things. That's a psychological freedom. It brings you to psychological freedom. And I think it's not just being in the place of saying it just is, or in the moment, but at some point, once you're freed from that psychological pain, then you have the freedom to move forward in some kind of a constructive way.
Yes, that's the whole freaking point of life in general. We have to. if we didn't have the negative things happening, if we didn't have terrorism, we wouldn't know emotionally how we feel about it,
No.
and we would have no polarity
Right.
and
Yeah.
have no directive of how we will respond or what we're going to do
There's
beyond.
got to be a reason somebody figured out yin and yang.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm in this mode right now where it's like,
Yeah.
okay, some of the best people that I admire with troubleshooting, so to speak, or problem solving, or solution oriented people, are people
Yeah.
who take whatever comes their way and they say, oh, this is happening. Well, let's try this. Let's try that. Here's what we can do. And
Yeah.
one of these people is my wife. She is amazing. And she troubleshoots because her job is a middle management at a CVS pharmacy.
Right.
So it's all retail, all things, cosmetics, drugs,
Yeah. Yeah.
sundries, everything, along with a pharmacy full on. So it deals with a
Mhm.
lot of people in pain and trouble and drugs and
Yeah.
everything. So she gets the full gambit of life thrown at her
Mhm.
face every day.
Yeah.
So there are always people having issues trying to find the product that they want.
Mhm.
Gee, I can't find this candy bar. Do you have this new liquor on your shelves? And
Yeah.
then I need Band-Aids, I need eye wash, I need. All day long, she solves people's problems. And yet, the reason that a good percentage of the people shop at her store versus other CVS's is like, I got to go in and see Barbara. I don't go to any pharmacy unless I go to this one because Barbara's there. And they
Right.
go in looking for her, and so she's so busy because she helps people and she puts
Yeah.
a good vibe in their life. And so they go seek her out, not just for the product they're going to buy, because they can get it anywhere they go, but
Mhm.
they go there because it's accompanied by this attitude of the person delivering.
That
So,
she cares.
yeah, and it's
Mhm.
obvious, and no matter what the
Yeah.
situation, she always cares. And so
Yeah.
she always guides towards a solution. And so that leaves her exhausted and the people around her happy.
Yeah.
You know,
I was just going to say, when you were describing that, I remember my brother-in-law saying at one time, "Well, if you don't want to do something, do it poorly." So what you were describing is the opposite. I mean, she does it well, and therefore she gets more and more and more of it to do.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was encouraged to buy a domain and write a book a few years ago, and I was going to call it the Employee Branding Machine. Now, the whole philosophy is that
Yeah.
if I were a business owner, and which I very well could be in the near future, I am, but I don't have employees.
Mm.
And
Right.
well, once I do, it's like, how would I treat these employees?
Oh yeah.
And my philosophy is I would treat them like family. I would treat them so well that my decisions would not be necessarily separate from my
Hmm.
real family versus my employees. I mean, they're all human beings, right?
Well, you treat
So
them like humanity.
Mhm.
the bottom
That's
line.
just moving up the evolutionary scale, Roland.
So, so let's so let's amp it up a section above this, and I would treat these employees as well or better than I treat my second in command and my vice president and my upper echelon managers. I would not treat the upper people better
No,
because they're higher up the chain,
no,
and I would not crack the whip. So I say to them, so go out there and turn your work crew into the most productive people so we can make more money. That would not be the foundation of
no,
my thinking.
no.
I would go down to the lower levels and teach what is the best philosophy that I have for treating people. And if I were on the floor of my store, how would I treat my clientele? And then
Yeah.
I would say, now this is what I want to convey to my bottom line trainee
Hmm.
people who are coming on the floor. But this is not what happens. This is not what happens at all. And at CVS Pharmacy, they have motivational things for their employees. They say, you have a quota to get this many positive responses comments and referrals from the people who come in, and if you don't get this quota, we're going to actually punish you by downgrading your internal point system, therefore lessening your opportunity to make extra points so that you don't get your bonuses at the end of the period. So it's all based on takeaway. It's all based on negativity.
Yeah.
And the book will be about how to positively motivate by making the people happy, and it goes beyond the motivation. It'd be like the employees at my store would be like, "Hi, how can I help you today?" And the people would walk up to this employee and say, "Well, dang it, I can't find blah, blah, blah."
Right.
And they would say, "Sure, I know exactly where that is," or "Let me see, so-and-so would know that where that was because it's his department, so let me find out the answer and I'll walk you right over to the product." And then the person would say, "Well, what makes you so happy?" Because they're like struggling with their solution, and the employee says, "Oh, I just like working here." And then suddenly it's like the person who is shopping said, "I wonder why he likes working here. Nobody likes working where they work." And it's like, well, I don't make a lot of money, but the people treat me well, and they're very positive, and they do not crack a whip or cause me issues. I'm encouraged, I'm educated, and I'm empowered to help you. So it just feels good. And if I keep this up, I know I can get an advancement and a raise, and I have this next step. And so the person's not just motivated, the person is inspired and they're happy. Right on the bottom rung, the newest employee around is empowered to be something greater than he thinks he is, which is a peon, right? So if they're encouraged to be better, they're going to treat the client better, which turns the entire business around. And
yeah, I think
the unions in.
no unions.
I think what you're saying, Roland, is exactly what Simon Sinek said. He said he was giving an example of somebody else. Actually, he was saying employees first rather than stockholders first. He was saying,
you bet completely.
And he ended up growing his company to a big organization. I don't remember the name of the individual or the company, but that was the example he was giving.
And that one little flip of the switch that took everything and kind of basically turned, it's like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You know what that is, right?
Yeah.
So in Maslow's hierarchy, you start off on the bottom, and you're just scrounging around to survive.
Food and shelter.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you get a little bit further in that, and you start feeling mildly comfortable. It's like, whew, I finally got this, and I've got that, and now I can strive to get a few things that I want, and I can reach out and I can put my arms around my family now, so I'm stepping up a little bit. And then you get beyond that, it's like, okay, I'm in a hectic life, but I'm actually expanding out and doing something, but I don't like my job, but at least I'm making enough money to start planning for the future. So as you go up the scale of hierarchy, your anxiety goes less and less and less, and your ability to do becomes more and more. And when you get up into the higher echelon of the pyramid, you become philanthropic and benevolent and helpful, and you want to give back.
That I have studied what you are saying, but there have been others who said that it's not necessarily true for somebody. It's possible that somebody who is at the bottom of that pyramid may still be thinking in terms of those higher goals and all that. So
Exactly. So
in that sense, that hierarchy, it's not. Yes, it is. It's a concept. Yes, You can use it as a diagram to explain things and so on. And probably majority of the population do fall into those layers and so on. But some people.
So listen to what you just said. Now listen to what you just said. You just described how people fall into the hierarchy, and that we don't necessarily have to correspond to that or think that way, right?
Yes, and what I'm saying is people who that there are people who may be at the lower layers of that hierarchy, but still think in terms of higher things, and
Yes.
they are the ones who have the potential to become leaders.
So here's what I think of Maslow's hierarchy, okay? About a decade ago, I held a little group seminar with about 8 or 10 people.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, today we are going to turn Maslow's hierarchy upside down. And so I gave them pictures of the pyramid.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, now here's how it structures. And you're gonna relate to this by being somewhere on the pyramid. And we always start from the bottom, so we work our way up. But I want you to take that piece of paper now and turn it upside down. And then they're looking at this going, well, why did I do this? And then I said, now start from the bottom and work your way up. And they looked at the top of the pyramid, and it's on the bottom. And then I said, now that's your starting point, and look at the rest of this as what you are going to expand into. And you're going to, as you rise up, you're going to take on more and more challenges, because as you work your way up, the problem becomes bigger and bigger. But the most important thing is that you
self-actualization.
Right. Right. You must work on yourself first. And if you start out with self-actualization, you'll be the better person responding to life, and expanding from there, doing nothing but good for people. Now, is that practical? No. Is it logical? No.
No.
But that's what I propose.
You look at the people living on the street who are expending every second of their waking lives just finding something to eat. They don't have time to worry about self-actualization.
And yet, if they did, they would realize and become aware of the fact that God did not put us on this earth to starve. And God gave us the opportunity to realize our self-manifestation, not just actualization or a realization of what we are, but an actual action beyond, which is the expression of what we are as divinity. And we don't have to be expressing just as human beings. And if we start with the self-actualization and express from there, I think that everything would work out, because we're in tune with what the universe is designed to do. And that's how God gave us a heaven on earth, where we can actually realize that heaven on earth is now, if we really want to believe that, because we are divinity, and that trumps anything that we could experience as human. We are not limited as human. We're just having a human experience, right? We wake.
Yes.
So if that's the case,
we're all one. So
Yes.
You were just talking about Maslow's hierarchy. Have you looked at spiral dynamics?
Oh yeah, but I'm not as well versed at that, and it's a far more complex structure.
Yes, and it's just let me share my screen.
Sure, love it.
So this is Ken Wilber's work, but spiral dynamics was he has just adopted it. It's not his work. I'm trying to remember whose work it was, and I think I have something here. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, here we are. Suzanne Cook Greuter. She did some work on spiral dynamics, and somebody else did too. But the whole idea, and if you find Ken Wilber's work interesting, when you listen to it, they use the colors to describe what they mean. Mm-hmm. So the spiral dynamic is over on the left-hand side over here. This, and it talks about all of the levels of human development, moving from the archaic right up to the sort of the integral and beyond. And his notion is that every human being goes through every one of those stages, mm-hmm. and takes along the values from those that came before. So it's not a hierarchy. It's an evolutionary piece.
Sure, that makes sense.
And so when you get to, there's a lot of people, and somebody's done some research that will tell you what percentage of the population or of the world are in each one of those levels. So, but the integral talks about, sees natural hierarchy and systems, holds multiple perspectives. So when you're down below, people tend to see things from one perspective. But as you move up, you're able to see things from many perspectives simultaneously. Mm-hmm. And so the very top, integral, sees the world as alive and evolving, holistic, cosmic-centered, lives both individual self and transpersonal self. So it's an evolution, and it sure does help understand different cultures, mm-hmm. Different religions, different people. You can look at everything from those perspectives, and it helps you kind of understand. And I use this in my coaching. I don't talk about it in my coaching, but it helps me figure out where that client is, and mm-hmm. what can I do to help them sort of deal with where they are and to move forward.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So what you display in the spiral graph I brought it up on my computer.
Did you? Okay. Yeah. If you just Google spiral dynamics.
Yeah, I've done that and brought it up. So what this is a better way to analyze and recognize and perceive that which we're experiencing, and relating it to the people.
Yeah.
So I can see where it can be really, really handy for you.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I experienced in my helping people is that they are all over that graph. They're the higher end or the lower end, and it's whatever they are, right?
Yeah.
So they're coming to me, and I'm realizing, shoot, I have to adjust myself completely and be a chameleon to adjust to that every time, and I realize that's the way I am. That's why I can be friends with so many people, and they're not even friends with each other, but I'm friends with each of them. This has happened time and time again.
Yeah.
I'll find myself as a mediator, moderator in between two people having problems, and I thought, well, gee, maybe I'm supposed to be a family therapist or something like that. I think, well, I really don't want to do that. I've got enough damn family problems myself. I've been divorced 3 times before Barbara. And so, am I a good example? No, but I've had plenty of experience. And but the thing about, the where I encounter it the most has been in business, where people come to me and they very commonly say, I need a website. And then I say, okay, very good. And they say, can you build me a website? I say, yes, I can. However, there's a lot to discuss before we get to
There is.
Yeah. And so that discussion and achieving the common thinking, the platform upon which to launch the concept of I will design your website and you will pay me this much now and this much later, and etc., is just something that I got so sick and tired of, because we get 2/3 of the way through the project and the people are saying, well, no, I thought this, and I said, no, that's not what we agreed on. Look at our agreement. If you want to do that, it's going to be this much more, or it's going to be different, or we have to do different things.
Boy, is that ever a common complaint of website developers? I've
Sure.
never known one who doesn't tell that story.
Yeah, exactly. So I said, I finally threw my hands up in 2013, 2014. I said, I've had it. I don't even want another web client. I don't want to build websites for these assholes. And I'm through, you know. And so that's when I started the Saturday Morning Marketing Smarties show. And the reason is because in that format, I can teach people and have absolutely no commitment to what they do with it. But I can teach them what I know and increase their understanding of the business. And then if they finally see or draw the equation that Roland understands the business, he understands the nature of the business, he knows what the needs are of the basic fundamental website design, I think that it makes sense that I can hand my project over to him and let him do his thing. Now, does it mean that the engagement and the process and the contract is going to be easy? No, but it's going to be easier. So that's why I started my show. I said, unless I educate the people, they're not going to understand my value.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Some funny things happened just a few minutes ago.
That's a good sign. You were depressed a half an hour ago.
Well, I don't mean funny. I mean weird.
Funny.
Yeah, I think we saw. At least I saw you drop off or come in two streams, and now your lower third is not there because I think you joined again. So anyway,
very strange. That's the first time that's ever happened to me. Everything went black, and then there was a message that came up that said something like the network just kicked you out or something. So I had to enter my password again, and it brought me right back to where I started. Weird.
Password. Oh, for your network password.
My Google password, yeah.
Oh.
Really strange.
God is sending you a message, Lowell Ann.
Yeah. I think so. So.
What is the meaning of life?
So the other day we were texting, and you were asking questions about presenting yourself as an engineer, or how do you do that? And you know, I got thinking about your question. I've been thinking about it for a while. And it became clear to me that I really don't understand exactly what it is that you do.
Yeah, I have been a software developer for a long time. I think I mentioned since 1985.
So that's what you mean by when you say I'm an engineer.
I am an engineer I am a graduate engineer. My graduation is in electrical engineering.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And then
So then how did you morph from electrical work into computer work?
Oh,
by God, that's just the logical progression for each of us, isn't it?
Yeah, it was because when I was studying my engineering, I somehow got interested in computers.
Yeah.
And then the first job I got was for programming.
Right. That's software development, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
COBOL programming.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then I moved on to that. Then I actually went back to my engineering roots and joined a company, battery manufacturer, where it was more of electrical
Yeah.
maintenance and so on and so forth. But there again, somehow I was getting pulled into their computer division.
Uh-huh.
Then I moved on to electrical manufacturer, but then into their computer department.
Yeah.
They had a computer-aided management system department.
Mhm.
So
You're
Yeah.
expanding into your destiny.
and that's where I did my I had my greatest achievement in life so far. So which was that train I mentioned to you, Roland, the last time. Train writing software for the underground railways.
Wow.
That's
Right.
what I did there. That was when I mean I'm. It was the greatest achievement because the lives of train passengers depend on the software that we wrote. So
Wow.
if the driver says brake and if my software had a crash,
Wow.
the train would have a crash.
So,
So who do you see as your client right today as part of your business? Who is your client?
My client would be someone who needs solutions for their business problem, because that was sometime in 88 or 89, something like that, long ago, in early 90s, my train project. After that, I moved on to software development.
Yeah. Okay.
And,
so you said someone who has a business problem. What kind of a business problem?
Maybe too many things they have where they don't know how to manage this, that. But it's a problem that can be solved by bringing things together.
So you're talking about a system problem.
let me give you an overview. Like this would be in a nutshell, Lolan. Because
No, Roland. What I'm trying to do is to get Vivek to say, because he was asking me how he could
okay, go ahead.
verbalize what he does. So that's what I'm doing. Is trying to get him to find the right words.
So you don't want an explanation. You wanted him to come to his own solution.
Yes.
Go for it.
Isn't that what coaching is all about?
Yes.
But the problem I see these days is because all these I did go to a couple of business coaches and so on and so forth, and they said in a way they said exactly what you said, Llewellyn. Think in terms of what the client
Think about
wants.
the client.
Yes, that after I did that, then people started thinking. They kind of think that you come across more as a marketing man than an engineer. Are you solving the problem yourself, or are you hiring someone else to do it? I said, no, I am the one who is writing this software, the code that can pull this data from this and do this for you. And So that was my question. My question was, when I present myself in that fashion, think in terms of what the client wants,
Hmm.
I find myself that I come across more as a market researcher or someone who markets things, but that's not what I am.
No, no, you're so in my world, I would have asked, are you a consultant? Because the consultants are different from marketers.
Mm.
So, but I'm still, I mean, you did say that they have a bunch of problems, but they're electronic problems, right? Are you solving solving financial problems or client service problems? I'm thinking that what you want to do is create electronic solutions to simplify many things.
Mm. Yes.
All right.
Yes. But market reality is so that unless I either get employed by somebody who does that,
Yeah.
it's very hard. Where's the capital coming from and
Yeah.
all the rest of it? So the
So
other
you would,
alternative is
yeah, but so when you said I find solutions to business problems, that's way, way, way too broad. Because
so
people, when they hear that, they go, their mind goes
glaze over
way
and
out there. So
Agreed.
yeah, so to be able to say I mean, I think it's more clear for you to say I'm a software developer who likes to work with small business
mm-hmm,
to solve their system problems.
mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm going to have to interject right now because I'm 10 minutes over the hour, and I'm supposed to be meeting with Joel Sanders, Lynn Sanders' husband, and so I need to get back over to her, Lynn and Joel. And you guys are in the midst of something. It's really a great conversation. I wish I could just sit here and watch you.
But you can't. But you started the hangout, so I guess we're
Yeah.
all done.
Well, I didn't want to be rude, but I encourage you to just start another hangout and keep on going. You can go back into the conversation that we were having, and go ahead and video conference from there. And then if any of the other people or myself afterwards want to join in, we can join in with what you're talking about. 'Cause it's a great conversation. Oh, and
I think yes. I agree with you, Roland. Yes.
So anyway, the opportunity is, the internal virtual brainstorm clan. I think that we've got something to pursue there, and
Absolutely.
it's very positive,
Yeah.
and it's maybe the type of thing that we want to achieve in our hangouts, but we can't because we're too busy trying to think of what are we going to broadcast today, what is our subject, and so forth.
Yeah.
And we get on these things and we just say, okay, what's up? Here's what I see, or this is what here's what's going on in the world today, and what takes us into the depths of what we believe and what we want to express. I think that these conversations are extremely valuable.
And do you know why they work, Roland? Because they're not being recorded.
Yes,
So
it is.
so we can be much more candid.
I've got news for you. I've been recording this whole session. This is
Oh,
a
you
hangout on.
haven't. Oh, yes, you have.
Yes.
See it up there.
So I slightly disagree with you there, Lovelan. It all depends on individuals actually. Some individuals kind of say what you just said. If you're going to record this, I have to be prim and proper and can't be honest and present some corporate voice and.
So whether we're recording or not is not the point, right? The point is the state of mind with which we engage what we're doing, and the perception of how we're expressing, or the perception of the expectations upon ourselves, kind of conducts what we do. And the idea is, if we set up the parameters correctly, we will engage at the deepest level, and all the truth comes out. is what we really feel, what we really believe, and probably the best creation and development that we can come up with from a brainstorm session.
Hmm.
So, and to record it is, in my opinion, uh, it's absolutely necessary, because then you've recorded genius in the process. And I'm not declaring myself a genius, but I'm saying genius things come when you release and not worry about the environment, and you want to just express, which is
Hmm.
my whole point of the start of this was, all these parameters with people who say, this is how I analyze life, and this Maslow and that other guy on the spiral dynamics and so forth. They're all an analysis of what we think we see, and I
Hmm.
want to move beyond that to, like, I feel fine with who I am. I'm calm, I'm collected, I am happy. What do I want to do? What do I think, and what do I want to create? What do I want to achieve? And that's the mode that I am in general in my life. And so I'm past the point of worrying about the future or being depressed about the past. I am literally past that. And I'm probably living in the be here now mode of my consciousness more than I ever have in my life. And that's the point from which I launch pad into what do I want to do. And when you ask the question, what is the positive? It's the stepping stone to take it, no matter where someone is, if they're destitute and broke and have a problem and a cut on their finger, or if they're uh, a big corporate businessman with a problem with his employees or his internal management, each of those people could have the same amount of stress. So what is the situation applying to each of them? The answer is in the results of what comes when you ask, what is the positive? Because we all have our own set of problems, and we all have our own solutions. So if you always revert back to, okay, here's where we're at, what is the positive? Then we can always find a solution. And that's the whole point of my show. So I love these conversations, and I think that we're...
But Roland, I think it's only fair to let people know that to point out that you are recording, because I think my experience is that some people would be very nervous about that, and so they need to know that ahead of time.
And evidently you did not know when
I
you
did
came
not
in.
know. No.
However, this was announced as an HOA. I sent the invitations out as a
It just popped up in the corner of my screen.
yeah. And the reason it did that is that we've been having this side conversation.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you would have received only the event invitation, and then you would have recognized it more. And
Yeah.
probably started out by ending up in the event page or getting a direct
Yeah.
invitation from...
Well, the whole event page thing is not working anymore.
Oh, that's because you're in the beta version.
Yeah.
I hate the beta version.
Yeah, but you're going to have to learn to live with it sooner or later.
Sooner or later, I'll do it later. Right now, I'm too busy enjoying the old version.
Yeah, I did actually. That brings me to one thing that we can, as Google Plus users, each of us can do. That is, give them feedback.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I have been putting feedback. I used the new interface and then saw something, gave them feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Saying this is not. In fact, I was quite strong when I said the event page used to be an engagement tool for Google Plus, and why have you removed it from the new interface? Was my question to them.
I gave the same feedback ages ago.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think we need to keep doing that.
Oh, okay.
Now and again.
Roland wants to hang up now. He's got another.
I've got multiple issues coming up. I just want to let you guys know. Linda's waiting for me, and she's no doubt becoming impatient. But at the same time, I just got an announcement from Melanie Hall, whose mother passed away Thursday.
Oh.
So I'm going to attend to that also and respond to her.
Right.
And you might keep your antenna out and see what's coming from that way. But she's
Yes.
going to need a little bit of time with people and time.
Support.
Well,
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
but the conversation is a great one, and thank you very much.
We
And
covered a lot of ground.
yeah, and thanks for letting me record it on a What is the Positive session, because these type of things lead to solutions that help people.
Yeah.
So thank you guys, and it's just good evidence of what we should be doing more often. I think
Yeah.
it was very valuable time, and thank you very much on a Sunday, Easter Sunday, for spending with us.
Okay. Bye.
Okay, we'll talk to you soon. Thank you very much, guys.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste.